Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be going over this Korbanth Darksaber I just finished installing. It's got a lit pixel button, it's got Bluetooth and the Proffie v3.9. That's the one I have in here. This is for a customer, and this video is going to serve as both a showcase of the lightsaber and a little guide as to how it works for the customer. So let's just get right into it. Actually, before we do that, I want to take the time to do a sort of mini review on this lightsaber because this is the first time I've ever had a Korbanth lightsaber in my hands, so I was surprised by quite a lot of things. I won't be doing a full comparison with the ones that I have, the two other Darksabers I have. I have the Saber Bay one and the Malibu Darksaber from a long time ago. I won't be doing a comparison to that. Maybe I will if I have the time, but I'd like to get this shipped out to the customer as soon as possible because unfortunately I made him wait a very long time because when I first got the lightsaber in, we were waiting on the chassis from Korbanth. I ordered it, but it was around Black Friday. It was actually a couple weeks before Black Friday, so I don't know why it didn't get shipped out faster, but anyways, I ordered it from Korbanth and it took a very long time for him to ship it to me, quite a few weeks. And then at that point, it was too late for me to get started on it because I had a vacation I needed to go on, a little trip for a couple weeks with my family. Got a little sick as well afterwards, as you can kind of hear. I'm still recovering from it, but in any case, I got the lightsaber done, but it did take a while, so I'm probably not going to hold on to it for any longer than I have to. So I'm going to take this time to review it a little bit. This is a very interesting lightsaber because it's pretty close to being as accurate as the other ones that I have, with a few different details. Of course, all these details you see here are not as prominent as, let's say, the Saber Bay Darksaber, which is considered to be one of the more accurate Darksabers that have been made. And of course, this part is not quite as accurate. And then, as I said, all the other details are a little bit different, like the screws are a bit different. These things don't protrude as much as they should. A few other things, I won't go too much into it, but one of the main differences you can see is the grips. The grips are very interesting because they're kind of like a brushed aluminum, dark aluminum look, which I think is pretty nice. I think it should be a little bit darker, but when you see it in person especially, it's pretty neat because it's got some darkness to it. It's not just silver. But the biggest thing that you will notice if you do ever get this is this thing is heavy. I did not expect this to be this heavy. It feels incredibly solid. The other Darksaber I have, the first one I ever got, is the Malibu Darksaber, and that one is very solidly built. It is still not as heavy as this. That one's quite heavy. This one is way heavier. It's like 3 pounds or something, but it's a hefty lightsaber. It's almost as heavy. I don't know if it's quite as heavy, but it's almost as heavy or equal to as heavy as the full steel MK1 I have from Roman Props, which is saying something. I don't know exactly what this is made of, but it's very, very solid. But that also means there's a little bit of a downside that I'll get into later when I go over the lightsaber, but for the Bluetooth, it's a little harder for the Bluetooth to come out of the hilt or to escape from the hilt because, it's got things impeding it, the waves, but it's still not too bad and way, way better than like the mini Bluetooth module that there is, because I've got the BT909 in here, which is the bigger one. So the power is good enough to have a decent amount of distance between the phone and the lightsaber. But in any case, let me just finish off this review here. It's quite heavy. I don't know how it would be with a blade because I don't have the Korbanth blade. That was not sent to me, and I don't have any on hand, so the best I have is this blade plug. I don't know how the blade will look. I've heard it's not quite as good as like the Saber Trade blades, which I have 2 of. But I can't attest to whether or not it's brighter or better or whatever. But in terms of the hilt, I like it quite a bit. I don't know how to rank it. I think I don't have the Saber Bay installed yet, but in terms of the hilt, that one feels much, much lighter because it's made of aluminum, I believe. And it's not thick aluminum either. It's a little bit thinner aluminum, so it's quite light, which is very nice for swinging around and holding and stuff. I don't know how it's going to feel when it's got chassis bits and whatever else in there. But this feels much more high quality than the Saber Bay, if not, sorry, my brain's not here right now, but feels more solid, so it feels more premium, even though it's not as accurate and whatever else. But the downside for this lightsaber is for installers. When you work on installing it, the inside is not made very well. It's got some quality control issues or whatever. So you have to go inside with a file and file it out in order to allow the chassis to slide in and out relatively easily. And then there's some bits and pieces in there that's a bit harder that cause a little bit of obstruction to the chassis pathway or whatever it is. So you got to spend a few minutes or a while to just file it all down and then get all that stuff out. Same with the pommel, because the pommel has to go over the chassis. So all of that is the only annoyance with this lightsaber from what I can tell. And if you're not concerned about accuracy or whatever, this is fantastic because it's really close and it's really solid. I don't think it would be great for spinning or whatever. I'm not spinning lightsabers at all. I haven't gotten into that. And same with dueling. Don't know if you want something this heavy because you're not going to be as nimble or fluid with it. Maybe you like that kind of thing. Or maybe you need some exercise. But in any case, that's my short review of the Korbanth Darksaber. So now let's get into how it all works and my install of this thing. Alrighty, now let's get into the install. So, the first thing that I did, well, this was one of the last things I did, but one of the first things I wanted to do was I noticed that this was in 3 separate sections. This is a little screw and a triangle detail. I noticed that the screw, these are all 3 separate pieces. So I decided to take a little bit of a note off of the Heart of Siberia I made, because in that one, you glue one of the screws to something you can hold on to so you can undo the screw by hand. So I decided to do that here, and it works fairly well. You just unscrew this little nut here with your hand. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky. So there you go, you just unscrew it. I think I did it a bit tight before. Just unscrew it with your hand, or you could still use your tool, but either way you could do it by hand if you wanted to. Just unscrew that, and then I have this one glued in, as you can see, so it doesn't fall out every time you unscrew it. And then you just, I like to hold on to the D-ring, you just pull it out. And this is the chassis. This is the chassis and DIY kit from Korbanth. So I believe Shadow Foil Props made this chassis. This is a 28mm bass speaker. This is the Proffie 3.9. This is a lit pixel button thing that comes with the chassis kit. And then this is a unique connector thing for the blade plug in the blade. Now, to activate it, you do have a kill switch up here. Just turn that on. This is an 18650 lithium-ion battery. Take it out to charge it. You just pull on it, and there you go. So, put it back in, turn it on, and then as you can see, I've got it lit up. The Bluetooth I have sitting in this little channel here. I actually almost forgot about the Bluetooth that I was supposed to install in it. So I installed this whole thing first, and then I realized, oh, I forgot to put in a Bluetooth. So I went back, got a Bluetooth, put it in there, and it works, which is great. And I'll show that off later. But it's a 1-button setup, as you can see. Is there anything I need to talk about? The chassis. Well, this is a separate piece, the pommel and the chassis. You can remove it, but I like having it be a super snug fit so you can pull it out, put it back in. If it ever gets loose, you can always use like a little dab of E6000 or Loctite or something to keep it in place, but it's a super tight fit. I did have to sand down the inside of this in order to make the chassis fit, but now it's a super snug fit. So we'll just leave it at that and put it inside of the hilt. You want to make sure to align the button with, of course, the lit up button right there. Just put it in, and there you go. It's all the way in, and then of course you can just screw this in. I think it makes it a little bit more difficult if you have the blade plug all the way in, because that's what I did right before I started filming this, was I decided to put the blade plug all the way down and then put the chassis in. But if you take the blade plug out, you unscrew all 4 of these screws, or you loosen them up. I did not loosen it up enough. So let me just do that real quick. There you go. Slide that out. Boom. Chassis goes all the way in. I think that makes it easier to screw this in and unscrew it. Oh, yeah, way easier. There we go. That's all the way screwed in. And then you can just put that on. And you'll see a little bit of a spring here, because that's it hitting the pins. So, we'll just tighten this back up. I do have 2 minutes of memory space, so I may cut out here. Then I'll have to go and delete some stuff or move some files around so I have enough space to finish off this video. But basically, we're coming to the end of this because it's a nice straightforward build. You can see the lit pixel here. When you press the button, it all lights up. And this also lights up. I have it set up so every single sound font on here has its own color basically and blade style, and I have this mimicking it. And I actually am using the same config setup as the Heart of Siberia. Of course, I edited it down a lot, but this button is acting like the crystal did in my other build. So it pulses when it's not on, so it's lit up, and then it pulses down, turns off, and then comes up. When you activate it, it turns into the blade color. Well, of course, it's blade color the whole time, but then you hold it for 3 seconds to turn it off, or not 3 seconds, probably less than that, and you'll see it sort of cycles down, and then it heats up, or it cools off is the effect. Forge cooling off or something. And then it turns back into the color, back into the pulsing. So, I thought that was pretty cool. I will put this down so I can go and change the SD card and free up some more space for this. Alright, I'm back. This is actually the second time. The first time I realized that I wasn't recording the audio for the first 2 minutes. So I'm going to restart. It took me a bit longer to get back than I expected. It's about 25-30 minutes, so I'm not entirely sure where I left off, but I'm going to start by just going over a few of the basic controls as I remember it. I'm not too familiar with the controls, but this is what I've found. So, you press the button, obviously it turns on. If you hold it for a second or 2 or 3, something like that, it turns off. Basically, hold it till it turns off. And then when it's off, you can double tap it and it plays music. I believe if you double tap, it should turn off again. There we go, it turned off. I'm going to look at this list real quick so I can go over some of the more basic controls a little bit easier. I'm more familiar with CFX than I am with Proffie, so bear with me for a second while I research this. So I did that. Double click, pointing straight up. Okay, so if it's straight up and you double click, it plays it. If you double click again, it turns off. I guess it's a little finicky, but in any case, that's how you play the tracks that I have assigned to it. You also have, you can, let's see, there's all these spin modes or whatever, but you don't need to know any of that. Okay, so let's just show this next one, which is if you double tap it and then tap again, so basically 3 clicks and you hold the last one, it glows. So this shows the battery level. So this is a battery level indicator. So double tap, and then the final third one, you hold it for a couple seconds or for a longer tap. And it'll glow depending on the level of the battery. Green's obviously good. Orange is less. Red is, you're basically empty. Show you that one more time. There you go. And then if you want to switch to the next font, do a long press. Boom, next font. If you point it up and long press, it goes backwards. So basically anywhere else but upwards, it goes forwards. It's really, really easy. Oh man, I haven't talked for this long for a little bit, so I'm struggling to speak here and catch my breath. But in any case, sorry if I'm coughing so much. my lungs are obviously not at full capacity. But in any case, let's turn it on. You have all the basic stuff. You just tap it. You've got the blaster blocks. If you hold it in clash, you've got, there you go, you've got blade lockup. Double tap and hold. You've got lightning block. I'm sure there will be a different animation or something on the blade once you have the blade in there. And then other than that, there are force activations, or not force activations, force effects and everything else. But let me just go over some of these real quick. Just look at my reference list. You have a melt effect, so if you hold power and stab, parallel or up, it has a melt effect. I can't really show that to you because it doesn't have the blade in. Same with the stab effect, you just thrust, and then the tip of the blade will light up a little bit. Showed you lockup. Force quotes. I don't think I have any force quotes on here, so I can't show that to you. But in any case, these are just some of the basic controls. You can research some more from the stuff that I have in the description. Don't know if I've mentioned already, but I'm going to have all the resources you need down in the description, so you can edit this however you want and check out all of the controls and whatever else. So let me just cycle through. Actually, you know what? Let me show you Bluetooth, because that's the last thing that I need to show you, and then then we can move on and close off this video that you're probably suffering through right now. But basically, for Bluetooth, you need the app called ForceSync. This is what it looks like, ForceSync. And then you're going to come up with a list here. This is Bluetooth. It's FSC BT909LE. Click it. Go over here. And this is what I was talking about in the intro. If you look at here, it's not as strong as it would normally be, which is all the way up there. Sometimes it's 2, 3, or 4. Really shifts depending on where you are, I guess. But since this is such a thick lightsaber, the Bluetooth has a harder time coming through it. So you will need to be a bit closer. Now, you just scroll through after you click the FSC BT909LE. It will ask for a code. The code is going to be 6 zeros. I'm going to have this in the description as well so you can remember. But basically, you'll only have to do that once per device. So once you've done it on your phone or whatever, you don't have to do it again. Now, you go all the way over to the Proffie. There's going to be a lot of soundboards. It'll start here. Just go over 2 to the right. You're on Proffie. Click it. Then you've got these 3 things. It shows you the battery level, sound volume, which I have set at 1750. And then these are all the effects and whatnot. Locked up. There we go. But basically, this is going to be controlling your saber here. Sometimes it can be a bit iffy, a bit finicky. So just exit out to the left and then come back, and then it'll be better. You can go through the presets like that. Just scroll through them all. And I'm going to use this to show you just how many fonts I have on here and the colors and whatnot. Purple. With this one, it does have a pre-on effect. I've noticed that with pre-on effects and this app in particular, and Proffie or whatever, it shows a weird color in the blade if you activate it through the app. But if you do it here, it's normal. You'll see that more in effect when we go to yellow. Because on that one I have a sort of ray pre-on, and then it's blue instead of yellow, which is really weird. But that only happens if you activate it with the Bluetooth.
Red. Yellow.
Now here's the one I was talking about. You see, it's blue. It's weird. But if you activate it with the button instead, once this goes away, see, it's yellow. It's very strange. But it's only a Bluetooth thing with this app.
Weapon of a Jedi Knight.
I'm sure somewhere down the line they're going to make an edit to the app in order to allow you to do some more some more changes. Because at the moment, Proffie and Bluetooth don't have as much capability or features as the CFX and Bluetooth does. But if you want, you can make your own app or have someone make the app for you. That'll really set it all up. But for most people, you kind of have to just wait on this app to do some updates. Then on a few of these, I do have a cooldown effect for the blade.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. Rogue Commander. Smooth Jedi. Smooth Fuzz.
And this one is the rainbow sort of fire effect. You'll see it better on the blade.
Smooth Gray. Teensy.
Now this is a battery level indicator that'll show up on your blade. So it shows towards the top of the blade and have it be, if it's green, well, you know, if it's at the top of the blade, it's going to be green. And that indicates that you have a fully charged battery, and then it'll go down and change colors as you start losing battery. And then the next preset,
White.
we're back to white. Now you can also play your music on here. So this one has a different music track. Not sure which this one is, but you can kind of hear that. There you go. So yeah, that's pretty much Bluetooth and everything you need to know about the Bluetooth. And once again, I will have a bunch of resources down in the description showing you how you can edit on Proffie, how you can go about doing that, all the resources you need to do that, and to find the FET26 or 263 website where it has all of the blade styles, a bunch of information on all this stuff. So go ahead and look at that if you want. And I believe that concludes everything you need to know about this. I will show you how to take it out again, although I believe I did that at the beginning. You basically just unscrew with your hands here, or you can use a tool. There you go. Grab this guy, pull it out, and here we are. So just do that, and then the lightsaber is off. You can take this out, charge the battery, do whatever you want. And now it's time to end off this video. Thank you to everyone who's watched. Sorry that I've been sick and haven't been able to post anything, and I apologize for not posting a lot of stuff for the past year. I did want to make a change this year, but this first week is a bit rough due to me being sick. But I am going to try and post a lot more new things, maybe some reviews, maybe some reaction videos to some cool lightsaber projects, so I can show off some of those to you. And also, of course, doing more lightsaber commissions and just builds in general. I've got quite a few builds coming up that I'll be able to show off to you. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed checking out the Korbanth Darksaber install with Proffie v3.9 and Bluetooth, and I hope that you get to stick around and watch everything else that I have in store. Thank you so much. Goodbye.